Redwood's strength and durability represent the beauty of nature. From decking and siding to pergolas and arbors, redwood lumber, patterns, trim, and timbers elevate any space with enduring warmth and elegance. Building with redwood also benefits the environment. That's because redwood lumber is sourced from Forest Stewardship Council certified timberlands in Northern California that are growing for the future and sequestering carbon dioxide. For redwood architectural specifications, project inspiration, where to buy, and more, please visit getredwood.com. We've all heard the trends and buzzwords, but you know what never goes out of style? Quality. That's the kind of thing you can stake your reputation on. And Andersen products have proven themselves time and time again for over 120 years. Backed by a leading number of U.S. patents, tested through time, and supported by over 1,000 service providers nationwide available to assist on-site. Andersen isn't building for trends, they're building to last, with products that are trusted by pros and proven through time. See product and warranty details at andersenwindows.com. Oh boy, let's get to some questions. So this comes from John. Hey, Fine Homebuilding, back again with my weird questions for you all. Why is my bathroom wet? Attached are a few photos of my 5-foot by 8-foot half bath. Condensation is forming on the ceiling and crown molding, which is running down the walls and even dripping onto the floor. I noticed it to a lesser degree in years past with some mild yellow streaks on the wall, but it never visibly condensed like this. The previous owners added this half bath before we bought the house in 2019, and they did not run a duct for the central heat or air. We have a vented attic with roughly 3 to 5 inches of blown-in insulation above the entire this entire floor. There is no elevated humidity anywhere else in the home. The bath is on an exterior wall and adjoined by bedrooms on both sides. Here's what I did last year. The wall staining I noticed previously had a yellow tint to it. In my reading, it seemed like it might be surfactant staining from the paint or potentially old nicotine stains. Since I hadn't noticed any condensation, I cleaned all the surfaces and primed the walls with shellac-based primer. I neglected to prime the ceiling or molding as it didn't seem related to the issue. I painted as follows. On the ceiling, I put 2 coats of Benjamin Moore flat white ceiling paint. On the walls, bin shellac with 2 coats of Sherwin-Williams Emerald Satin. Trim 1 coat of Sherwin-Williams Emerald Urethane Trim Enamel. Now in the peak of summer, the problem was returned with a vengeance. Did painting make this worse somehow? Will adding airflow help, or do I have a different issue? Note, in photo 1, you can see a laundry chute that I keep prop open. It's a straight shot to the basement where it's 66 year-round. I thought that would allow air to circulate between floors. Don't tell the fire marshal, and with the bathroom doors left open, that might help. But no go, I put my Milwaukee fan in the bathroom pointing out towards the hall, and all the condensation was dry in 15 minutes. Thanks for any help you may have, and thank you for the excellent podcast. Okay, so John, thanks for writing. John has a couple situations. I was asking for clarification, and I thought it might be important, but let's get right to it. Here, John has a wet ceiling in his bathroom. He has central air conditioning, but there's no vent for an exchange of air in the bathroom. So I think a lack of airflow is allowing humidity to build up in the half bath. Why the ceiling is cold enough to be a condensing surface, I think might be related to the light-colored metal roofing and night sky radiation making the attic cool and cooling the ceiling. I think we need an IR camera to know what's going on. What I want to know what happened to the vent. I'm curious if maybe it got covered over instead of it not being there and might be blowing cold air into the ceiling, which might be making it cold. Randy, what do you think's going on here? That was my stab.
Well, first off, I think we figured out John's in climate zone 4.
Sorry, I forgot to mention that, which is Tennessee,
where it's quite humid. I'm wondering if that room isn't going into a negative pressure for some reason. Something else in the house is pulling negative. It's backdrafting that hood, the vent hood, dragging warm, humid air from the attic into that space, and there's, for whatever reason, the walls are cool enough to hit a condensing surface.
Okay, so your source of moisture is outside air.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
And we're all confused by why the ceiling is a condensing surface, I think, right?
Yeah. Why is that cold enough? We don't
Ian,
know that.
Ian, do you have thoughts on this?
I really like Randy's idea that it's somehow that bathroom in its small size is acting as the, the conduit for pulling that moist air in from the outside. Uh, I think that makes a lot more sense than it coming from somewhere else in the house. But at the end of it all, he solved it himself. He needs some kind of exhaust, whether that's a permanently placed fan at the door, pulling it out of there, or getting a bath fan and hooking that up in there.
So I asked John. John does have a bath fan. He said he doesn't run it much because the end is poorly terminated, but we'll have that conversation in a little bit. I think the logical solution is to get some airflow from the HVAC system so we have some dehumidified air getting in there. I hadn't thought about that. The bath fan itself, which we know is connected to the attic because of its poor termination, is bringing in the humid air. So how do we fix this? Ian, what's your solution that makes the most sense in John's scenario?
Well, I think like you had mentioned before about getting some kind of conditioned air into the space. If this is on the first floor of a home, he should be able to get something pulled in from the basement to get some kind of HVAC in there. Or if it is on the second floor, then maybe he's got to figure out another creative way.
He's going to put a register he suggested in the floor, and he has a tile floor, so he was a little worried about that. So I suggested he might try a wall, right? And then you wouldn't have to go into the floor or under a kick space and under the vanity, right? Could be another option. Randy, what do you think about that?
Yeah, that's a great option. The other option is, of course, to fix the bath fan, which he's got to do regardless.
Yeah.
That's what we all agree on that, I think. Yes.
Yep. And then setting that up on a timer so that it's running however often, and moving air through, taking air from the rest of the house and moving it into the
I think
bathroom.
that's my first try. I would try that first, right? Can you make this go away? And you should have a bath fan anyway. That's why I suggest this is the first step. What do you guys think?
It's the cheaper route. Running ductwork, cutting tile. That's, obviously can be done, but it's a little bit more difficult. I would start with the.
And you need a bath fan anyway. John was saying that the bath fan currently terminates in the gable vent, which I saw his house, and it's above grade. It's kind of high. He was not real crazy about getting up on a ladder and cutting a hole in the 18 feet up in the air, right, from a ladder. So I suggested with the right product, you can terminate a vent in a soffit. Panasonic makes a specific product that is meant to have velocity to get the air you're evacuating from the space far enough away from the soffit that the roof doesn't take it up, which is the traditional problem if you use a lame vent.
Yeah.
What do you guys think?
I'd still go with the gable end vent. It's easier to put in. The soffit vent, you're taking apart part of the soffit to get it in, or
at least drilling a hole. Yeah.
Yeah. Or trying to fish ductwork, the vent back into the attic space, and you're on the eve end, and that kind of can get kind of ugly at sometimes. But either way, to get that thing hooked up and make it continuous, it really should be insulated. Even in, I think, climate zone 4, you're going to have some winter condition where you could have
condensation in there.
Yeah, condensation. And you don't want that in the attic. So insulating that product, and the flex is easier to work with. Just make sure it's straight. Pull the flex as tight as you can. Still be able to get it hooked up.
We'll have some resources on Fine Homebuilding's podcast page that shows you how to run flex duct and how to hook up ventilation fans. The side conversation I want to have here is, why are bath fans and kitchen range hoods such a problem for contractors, DIYers? Like, they're never, or they're seldom terminated correctly. It's a sequencing problem. And is there anything to do to make this more reliable system? I can't think of things that are worse in home building consistently. Am I wrong?
No, because oftentimes nobody owns it. It's part electrician, it's part HVAC guy. it's part general contractors, carpenters to cut holes, and part roofer or siding guy for the termination outside. It's just one of those things that involves everybody. So if you're a homeowner and you're trying to general contract this yourself, to our earlier conversation, you have to be the one to make sure all of that stuff happens and is done by the right person at the right time. And if you're hiring someone who's going to come in and run the whole project for you, as you're doing your interview process or doing your pre-construction meetings with that contractor, it's a good thing to bring up and just say, hey, what's your plan for this? I know other people who have had them fail. I listen to the podcast or I read different articles and they say that these are trouble spots. What do you do to ensure that these work? But back to your gable end vent, Patrick, I'd say that is a perfect opportunity to rent a tow behind lift and then set that up around the house, do a gable end vent, clean your gutters, do a bit of painting. It's just a great opportunity to rent some medium-sized equipment.
I fully agree. And related to this conversation, if you're a DIY remodeler, a handyman, or ambitious DIYer, you absolutely have to have, I believe it's a 4 1/4 or 4.5 inch hole saw, and take care of it, and it'll last a lifetime. But it is the only way to make these holes in any material short of brick or masonry, right? It proves super useful. You drill a 1/4 inch hole with, a standard twist bit, 8 or 12 inches if you have to. And then you take your time with this hole saw and you make the hole from the interior or the exterior. If you're working in a band joist cavity, you can get extensions that allow you to have clearance from the foundation wall for the drill. And there is a way to do this that you can do it yourself. But
and when it comes to the drill, you get your vintage Milwaukee Magnum corded drill out and you get about 400 feet of extension cords so you can get up there and do it.
I'm going to take it a step further and say you really need a heavy duty right angle drill, and you will use it way more than you think you will. And it's something you can buy at a yard sale now for probably $20 or $30, and it'll last forever. And God, what a wonderful thing to get out when you need it, right?
And they make such a cool whirring noise when you fire them up.
Do
you ever use that tool, Randy?
Right angle drill?
Yeah.
When I was an electrician, we had, that's all we used. We're corded right angle
And they
drills.
were Milwaukee, right? Because electricians would never use anything else.
They were Milwaukee. I watched my brother trying to drill. He was on a roof trying to drill through the eave portion to get a electrical conduit up alongside the house for the main service wire coming in. It was a above ground installation. And that thing caught and come back and hit him in the face. And he managed to get off the ladder, but as soon as he got down, he collapsed. I mean, it's
knocked him out.
Did quite knock him out, but he wasn't happy about it.
Oh my God. I've had it hit me in the jaw, and it really smarts.
Yeah.
If he was like me, you're feeling your face, like, how much damage did I do?
Yeah. Do I still have teeth?
Yeah.
Man, what a great tool.
Especially with a 6-inch hole saw. Yeah.
So I don't know that we help John at all, but you need some indoor air. I would definitely look to see if there's outdoor air coming into the space, because that would be. I was down a tangent. I was thinking it was night sky radiation because of the light roof, but the space has some insulation above it, so that doesn't add up. I don't know. If folks have thoughts on what's going on here that we didn't come up with, I hope you'll share, because it was a building science conundrum. Am I right, Randy?
Mm-hmm. And yeah. If I were him, I would, if you can find somebody that has some of this, the tools, a manometer to check
air
pressures,
pressure,
a thermal imaging camera, even a flow hood. If you do get that exhaust fan hooked back up to check how much air you actually moving, that provides a lot of information. It's worth doing.
I think a cheap IR camera on a hot day would tell you a lot, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And the hot part of summer is here, so it should work fine.